Hey everyone, and welcome to the effects tutorial in Gravit Designer, where I'll be showing you guys just a few different styles and effects that you can apply to your shapes in your composition. First, if you click on an object or shape, you'll see that at the very bottom right, the effects panel pops up. We have blur, color adjust, drop shadow, and a few different ones. I'm going to start by showing you guys blur. If you just click on the plus button next to it, you'll see this radius slider pop up. If I click and drag the slider up, you'll see that the edges of my shapes get more and more feathered. The next effect I want to show you guys is the color adjust effect. I put in this Star Wars logo that's a PNG I found from Google Images. It is black right now, but I want to show you guys that you can change the color of it to whatever you want. So color adjust in the effects panel allows you to do that. You can change the brightness and contrast, the saturation, pretty much anything you'd like in terms of color. So if I click on it, I can click and drag the saturation slider all the way up so that it is actually colored to begin with. Then if I want it to be another color, I can change the hue over here. These are really dramatic color shifts, so I can actually bring the saturation down just a little bit and then play around with the hue to get different color options as well. The next effect I'm going to show you guys is the drop shadow. The drop shadow can act either as a shadow or as an outer glow. So I'll show you guys how to do both of those things. If you want it to function as a shadow, click the plus button. You want to set the X and Y. So the fall off for X, if I click and drag it up, is horizontal, as you can see. And then if I click and drag the Y, it's vertical. So you can get your drop shadow set like this. Then you can set the blur up if you don't want it to be a very sharp edge like this. And if you want it to be a little bit lighter, you can just set the opacity even further down. If you don't want it to be black, you can change the color by clicking on this circle. You just want to make sure that you keep it to a dark color, otherwise it's no longer going to function as a shadow. So whatever color you choose to make it, just make sure it is a nice dark color. Now, if you want to apply an outer glow instead, we would take a similar approach. We would first add the drop shadow effect. I would keep the X and Y at 0, but increase the blur so that there's kind of a glow already coming off of it, even though it's a dark color. I'll set the opacity up a bit more as well. And now I'll change the color to anything that's a brighter color. So if I set it to this nice neon green, and if I just move this over another shape, you can see that glow a bit more clearly. There's also mirror. Mirror adds a nice little mirroring effect underneath whatever shape you apply it to. You can also play around with how opaque you want it to be, the padding, so how close it actually is to the shape, and then how much of the shape you actually want mirrored. The very last effect I'm going to show you guys is also in that more option. If I click that and then I click the curved shadow, you'll see that it applied this curvy shadow to the circle shape. I can play around with how much I want the bend to be on the shadow. You can make it really dramatic if you'd like to. You can change the softness if you want it to be more of a solid edge. And you can change the radius to set how close you want it to be to the shape itself. The closer you set, the more it's going to look like it's actually sitting on top of something. The opacity is also an option down here if you want it to be really dark or really, really subtle. Lastly, you can change the color of the curved shadow to whatever else you would like it to be. That's it for the effects video, and I'll also be making another short video about how to add texture to different parts of your composition.